Hey Manas, congratulations on scoring a 720. How is the feeling right now?
Thank you so much, Dhananjay. It's definitely good. Yeah, really happy. It's certainly my target score, which I wanted to achieve, and finally getting that. It's been great. So yeah, thank you again, like for all of the efforts, and it feels good.
No, I appreciate it. So let's talk about your GMAT journey, right? So now that you are at a 720, it's a great score. Let's talk about where you began, and then we're going to get to where you're going to go from here. But how did your GMAT journey begin? Where did it start from?
Sure. Yeah. So it started last year. I was in my last year of graduation, and again, I was looking for master's courses. And again, I was looking in the field of finance and MIMs. So for both of them, like GMAT was a necessity. So yeah, again, like I was looking for a score of like around 720 because that's a good average score to get into these universities. And yeah, so my first attempt was in November. I gave it just after like a month of preparation. It was more around the fact that I thought, like I could just do the OG very thoroughly and I can just practice questions after that. And again, like I was really shocked after the exam because it didn't actually go well as I had planned it to. And yeah, like I scored a 660, which was again very, it was not something that I expected. After that, again, like I tried to give it in December because I thought, like maybe like the preparation amount of time wasn't, as much as it should have. So yeah, again, I tried it in December. This time I definitely continued the preparation. I was really hard at work for it. But then again, like it only improved till 690. And that was really shocking for me because this time I really thought given the amount of time that was, and that's something that actually demotivated me. And after that I did not apply for master's courses because I just felt like the score was not good enough. And yeah, so like after that the whole COVID thing happened, so like again the master sort of plan got derailed, and then like it was shifted after 1 year. So again I started to plan around October this time to like again give the GMAT again. So initially I was just again like trying to get resources as much as possible. I did realize this time that there has to be a change in the strategy that I follow, because again like it did not work the past two times, so that definitely has to be something different that I have to try. And so yeah, like so my main motive this time was to like get the basics right, get as much as like the things that didn't have clarity before, making sure that getting these things right would have been like something that would take me into that 700 plus frontier. So yeah, like so I started off with that and I was preparing from some sources, but again like giving the mocks I didn't feel confident. Like this time I really wanted to make sure that the score was good. And like after giving certain mocks I was just like scoring around that level, but I was still didn't feel confident solving it. And yeah, that's the time when I saw e-GMAT. And yeah, I got connected with one of the like strategy person, and he really helped me. Like I gave a mock and then it really like guided me from there. And then yeah, I got in touch with you guys, and then after that like it has been it was a great experience. Yeah, like a great learning experience as well, because I got to learn a lot of my weaknesses. And yeah, like it played out beautifully after that. Yeah, so
Okay. So let's talk about the journey as in parts, right? So the first part is, and this is a mistake a lot of students make essentially, that I'm going to study the OG, I'm going to go through the books, and I'm going to put in some work. I'm smart enough, I'll ace it. Never
yeah,
works. Never worked for anybody, frankly. But it doesn't work for like 95% people. So then you thought maybe I didn't put in enough effort, which again,
yeah,
we as humans kind of blame ourselves for a lot of things. So you said, let me put in the time, let me put in the effort, and let me give it again. Now, let me point out to the fact that you got a 690. Now, 690 is not a bad score. It's just on the cusp of actually becoming a 720. So, there's just
yeah,
that very little delta that kind of sets you apart from a 720 scorer. So,
yeah,
and that you rightly pointed out is in the basics, that I knew everything. I was doing everything the right manner. My test taking is pretty good. It's just that these little things that I just can't figure out. Now, a lot of
yeah,
students at this point say they don't accept the fact that there's something wrong in their prep, and they give it again and they give it again, and by the time they're done, it's six attempts, and life's gone by. Uh, Essentially, what is the thing that kind of changed your mind in the next year after COVID, that you realized that you needed to change your strategy? What is that one thing?
sure. I think like from the point of like I gave the second exam, I knew I had to change my strategy because definitely what I was doing wasn't working. And whatever, like there has to be some flaw in that, right? Because again, like I think like I was capable enough to score a 720, and if it's not happening, then there must be like something that I'm doing wrong. And realizing that, it was basically seeing what was wrong. So after that, I was like, when I was going through these resources that I got from some friends, and I was going through a lot of interviews of like, and I was talking to the people who actually scored a good GMAT score, and that's when I realized, like that's not the way, like the way that I was going about it. That's not the way. Like it requires a lot of understanding of the concepts, like especially for quant and verbal as well. You
So
get
is studying from multiple resources a good idea, or is it just a very chaotic approach?
It's definitely a more chaotic approach because I think you require that streamlined approach. But what happened during like while I was studying for these multiple resources, that's what sort of reflected on my mock exams as well. Because again, I would be confused while solving the question of which approach to take the best, and I did not have clarity in my mind. And that was something like I was really searching for, to have that clarity while solving a question, how to go about it, what are the process, and maybe be sure, be confident, and yeah, that like I've gotten that thing right. So that kind of, yeah, like I realized like how would that come. So that would require like getting the basics right, getting to know how the questions are to be solved. And so that's basically sort of led me towards changing my strategy,
So what you're basically
working it
saying
out
is
from the
it's all about the process skills involved to actually get a question right. So you start asking yourself, why am I getting this right? And a lot of people
exact
they get questions right and they're like, I know this, but they may not actually know this on
exactly
that particular concept. So I think that's something that you pointed out that was very, very nice. So in your first consultation with our strategy expert, I'm sure that you kind of recited this entire journey to him.
yeah.
What was the first reaction there, and what did they tell you to do?
I think it was, yeah, the first reaction was again like as you mentioned, they said like 690 was not a bad score, and again it's at the cusp of 720, right? And so what I needed was like just a little push to like uh, get that score of 720. So first of all, I think the first thing that he wanted me to do was take a mock, and again like identify where I was going wrong, because again like that was the first place that you would start. So it was after I took that mock, he sat down with me and we did a complete analysis of the mock that was given, seeing where the weaknesses were, where I was not getting questions right. And also I think like the whole process of like analyzing was really beneficial for me, because the way that the analyzers was completely different. I could have done it on my own, because again like that involved a lot of things that I could not have seen, the timing as well of answering certain questions. And yeah, again like the mentality of it, right, when you're going into the exam, they sort of are able to grasp that and then work on these weaknesses accordingly. So yeah, that was like the first step that we took. After that, we analyzed the mock. He again like asked for me like what kind of expectations you're looking for, what kind of time frame you have to get the target score that you're looking for. And once I've told him that he then basically tried to put out a study plan and make sure I get connected with the right tutor from e-GMAT, and so that we could chart out the rest of the journey.
Right. So, I mean, I think e-GMAT is a lot about whether you're the right fit for us. I think that's a very key question we ask, and we're not looking at really a lot of sales conversions, but just in the fact that can we as mentors or educators make you successful, right? And we need to play to
Definitely.
our strengths at the end of the day. So that's exactly why we kind of ask these questions. And I think the other element is just the number of feedback points in a Sigma X mock. I think the
Yeah,
number of feedback points that you see in that kind of mock versus anything out there is something that I don't think that you'd see it anywhere. I think that
surely.
gives us the advantage of actually giving you very pointed feedback. It's in the data, not so much us. We know how to do it, which is why we're able to do it. But I think it's more in the platform and the UI. Okay, now having said that, once you started off with the platform, right? Once you started off with e-GMAT, what is the first thing you did?
Again, like the first thing was getting in touch with you, I think, and yeah, after that, like I think I got the clarity, because I think you provided a very detailed study plan on how I go about it, because I was again short on time. I think I had 15, 20 days on the platform, and then again like had to improve that score, get that clarity. And I think that's where you came in, and that was really helpful, getting that study plan which had that clarity of what I have to do every day. And so the first thing I started off with, yeah, again like testing my abilities in terms of giving these concept quizzes, giving these mock, sort of like bunch of 30 questions compiled, and then you solve them in a timed manner, and constantly then like working on each and every part of like your, suppose if you have quant, then working on algebra separately, working on geometry separately, and if you have verbal, working on CR separately, and your
Yeah,
so test each skills, making sure that I realize where I'm going wrong in it, and then basically trying to like see where I'm going wrong and what is the correct way to do it. And
yeah.
that's where I benefited the most, yeah. And yeah, like so going about all of these in a very detailed manner, knowing what to do next. I think that's what we started off with.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, and I kind of like reaching out to students very early on because it's very important for you to know how to really effectively use the course. It's a brilliant course, but it's only brilliant when someone really, really tells you that this is exactly what you need to do and this is how
Yeah.
you need to do it. I think that makes the kind of support that we give very, very key, and we really are emphasizing on it now, right? So having said that, I mean, I will show your account in a bit, but I think you have done things in a very structured manner. I think you took cementing quizzes, you took the test readiness quizzes, very, very structured in the way that you went about doing things. And we're going to show that as well because this is the kind of account that we'd like students to have. And we want to show that if you do it this way, it's going to work for you in the end, right? There's no way that it doesn't. But before that, before we get into all of that, let's talk about the course a little. So let's talk about the verbal course, what worked for you there, and then we'll move to the quant course. So let's talk about the verbal course and what worked for you there first.
Okay. We can start off with again like divided into three parts. That would be SC, CR, and RC. So I started off with sentence correction. So again, I had a little bit, all of these grammar rules you have, and you have, these understanding where it gets applied. And I had all of that because I had it from multiple resources. So what worked for like in SC is then once cementing these and actually applying them on like time-based quizzes and realizing where I was actually getting these wrong. And I think like the best part of the course that made me realize and I think significantly improved my SC capability was understanding the meaning behind the sentences. That's something that I never considered before. And because I was so fixated on, like, you get all of these resources and that rule gets applied, or that is something that I want to catch there and okay, I'm going to do it. But I think the main part that it boils down into it's understanding the sentence. And that I think e-GMAT, like through the answers of the questions, it showed me how to do it. It's first of all like gathering as much meaning out of the sentence as you can, and then moving on to the answer choices, and then seeing what conveys that meaning as correctly as possible. And then basically you see like, oh, where are the grammatical mistakes, or like what are the rules that you're applying are coming into. So that definitely helped my ST ability.
Yeah, just a
After
quick
that it
question here.
was
Just a quick
RCR.
question here. I'm sorry for stopping you. How important is this
Sure,
on
sure.
GMAT? Because on the GMAT, as far as I know, and I've given it, the options are absolutely ambiguous, right? These are questions you'd never see anywhere. How does the
Yeah,
meaning-based approach help with questions like these?
I think it definitely helps in terms of like once you like what again GMAT is not exactly testing on your English capabilities, right? What the grammar rules. I don't think it's testing you on that. It's testing you like again like as a GMAT you would be going into an MBA role, or you will be going for a management role, and it tests that critical thinking ability that you have. So what you gain out of that sentence. So that's what GMAT is based on. And once it gives you that sort of question, it definitely is based on like what you can gather from that question. What like SC is more about that, right? What you gather from that question, what is the meaning that you try to get out of it. From each part, I think the question is divided into like it could definitely be like each sentence could be definitely be broken down into different parts, and then you have to see where each part sort of comes in, what it is trying to convey, what you're thinking is right and on the right track. Because if you get one part wrong, your answer would automatically like the choices are based on such a way where you get confused. But if you have that meaning right, I'm pretty sure you won't get confused in the ambiguous choices, and then you can apply the rules and basically weed out the other choices, and then it becomes comparatively easy for you to do it.
That's very well said. I think strategic pausing is basically what you're talking about, breaking up the sentence
Exactly.
into different bits and then really just taking out the meaning, putting it on this on one side, and then just understanding the entire thing in the context of things. So I think yeah, I see that way. That's the only way to get it done on the GMAT because
Exactly.
obviously grammatical rules don't work. Okay, so moving on to CR and RC now.
Yeah, again, like the CR was the same thing. CR was some of my, like what I realized through the cementing courses was like was my weak point. I was not actually scoring that much well in CR, and initially I just thought it was just about there's like a question, I have to understand it and the answers and read the answers and see what makes sense and then go about it. But then after the course and after the giving the test, I realized like how much detailed and certain skills you have to apply to get the answer right. Because suppose like a normal inference based question, you can't assume anything out of your own. You also have to see what the passage itself is saying. You just can't like be like, oh, maybe it's just connecting to that and assume something which it's not actually saying. Because again, like it tests your critical ability and seeing what you get out of the passage the most. So I think that's what I was like realizing while giving these tests and like while taking on the answers. And I think the best part of it was the pre-thinking approach that came in, like after reading the statement, you pre-think what could the answer be. Like if it's an assumption thing, you pre-think, oh, what is the assumption could be, or like if it's a strengthener, you pre-think that. So I think that was really nice, where I got that clarity before going into the answer choices. I know like what I was actually looking for, so I didn't have to build that into much. Because what happens once, like if you don't do that and you delve into the answer choices, you sort of convince yourself because you get fixated on the answer choices and you reason your, like it happens, like opposite direction. You reason yourself, oh, why that could be the correct answer choice. But if you do it before, then you are basically doing it on the context of the statement, which is important, not on the basis of the answer choices that you have been given. So I think that was again like some ability, like I really helped. And another aspect of it was the bold faced questions. I was really struggling with them. I had no idea how to solve them because they had like they have a sort of a different structure from a
True.
normal CR question. And like that, and I would like to point out, like I did a live session, and that was like again a great resource that e-GMAT has, because that brings into like all of these different abilities of like bold face questions, and they cover that. And yeah, like that meant to really help me, because he gave like a very structured 4-line step-by-step process how to go about a bold face. You realize what a bold face is, what are they conveying, how they're related to each other, how that is related to the passage, which direction they're going in, and that's it. And that really helped me. Like after that, like my bold face questions abilities, like I was really clear on how to go about it, and then I was really able to solve them correctly. So yeah, so that was what was with CR. And
Yeah, that's super
like that.
detailed. Yeah. So I think one very important thing that a lot of students ask me is that I'm stuck with the last two options in a CR question. Why is that happening? And I can't really move past that. How important do you think pre-thinking is to solve something like this? Do you think they're pre-thinking the right way if they're getting stuck in the last two options?
Yeah, it's again like I don't think they're pre-thinking at all if you get stuck in the last two options. Because again, like what happens is like GMAT gives you like the answer choices are really ambiguous, and sometimes the two of them are really close. But what actually makes a difference is like one of them would be actually what you think is the right answer, and one of them what actually the statement would be conveying. So that's where I think the pre-thinking actually comes in. Like
True.
when you just understand the statement on the basis of what is just given, and the pre-think on the basis of that, that actually helps you like just outline, okay, that would be the answer choice that I should be looking for. And then you can basically see the answer choices. So then you wouldn't actually get confused between two similar answer choices, because you know that that point is not coming into the passage, or like it's not given in the passage at all. So I think that's where it comes in. Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
definitely helpful.
Perfect. I think this is amazing, and I just want to kind of show your account to everybody who's going to see this video. So I hope you can see my screen here. Can you see my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah,
Yeah. So as you can clearly see, like if you look at your accuracy here, it's brilliant. It's above 50% across all subsections, and it's really good with RC. If you look at your medium level accuracy, it's above 80%, and that's, I mean, again, these are internal metrics that tell us that you're destined for a V40, right? And
yeah.
that's something that kind of goes without saying. And if I look at this across all of your attempts again, and if I look at your timing data as well across your last 30 attempts, I can clearly see that you're just timing everything so perfectly on verbal that nothing can possibly go wrong as well. So I think Scholaranium kind of gives me this advantage to say that, yeah, Manas is actually going to be successful just looking at these numbers, right? I think that's very key to for any student to know, or any mentor to know, to say that you're on the right path. And I think the structured prep that you've done here is very, very visible. I mean, it's amazing how you've done cementing. You took exactly three SC and hard and medium quizzes. Same thing with CR. Then went on to do that with RC, and then took test readiness quizzes with SC and CR, and then those all verbal. Now, these metrics that are visible here, 77%, 84%, all tell me that this guy's actually going to score a B40. I mean, I didn't have to worry about looking at a mock even to say that you're going to do it, right? And then that's something that you've obviously done on the quant side as well, and that's something that's amazing. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about the quant course, and I think you had access to the quant 2.0 course, right? How did that
Yeah,
go?
exactly.
What's your feedback there?
I personally believe quant is my sort of my weak spot. I just, yeah, like I've always felt like quant was something I was not able to capture, and there was always like one of the major issues I was facing was before e-GMAT was the timing, because I was never able to sort of, like I didn't know how to actually, I didn't have clarity about the process to go about solving a quant question. So I spent a lot of time. That sort of again like made me rush into the last questions really, and then of course it led to a lot of mistakes as well. So I think like the course where like Quant 2.0 really helped me was clarify those concepts, because what they do give is they test your ability of a particular concept, because every, like suppose it's divided into different parts, numbers, algebra, and geometry, and in geometry even like what are the different concepts that you should know, and then this test your ability on that. They see like, oh, maybe like your concepts are not that strong, right, once you give those quizzes. And that's when they tell you like to go do these concept based files which actually tell you what is the right process to do a one. And what I really love like about the whole the quant course was that it gave you like after the concept you do a concept quiz, making sure you cement that concept, and then after that the main part was like doing the process and the GMAT skills, because I think that really improves, like once you are clear with the concept, how do you apply the concept in like uh, facing with a question that would actually come on GMAT. So making sure you know the process right, you can apply that concept, that is a process skill, and then basically using that process skill in a GMAT level question. And so I think that was cemented throughout with that course, the concepts and the process it followed, and it's definitely like how to solve a GMAT question after that.
Right.
So for each quant based topic, doing that, I think that really cements your understanding of how to go about it.
I think there's real value there, right? We've caught on to something that really works, because you take a diagnostic, it tells you, okay, these are your abilities and inabilities in these concepts and these particular processes, and then you go on solving each one of them in a structured manner, right? And I think the biggest problem that I think a lot of students face in today's day and age is they basically find it difficult to just to study a concept and then apply that. I think they just kind of lose that. There's that transition or that bridge, right? And I think the new concourse brings in that bridge, shows you how to get it done, and then takes you forward from there. And I think that there's real value to that as well, especially in the current climate where you had an interesting experience on the GMAT with Quant, right? So
Yeah.
I want you to tell me about your Quant experience on the online GMAT.
Oh, sure. I went into the exam really confident. I was confident about my abilities, and then again, I was focused. And from the first question, sort of, I was just completely off track. My mind was, I don't know, like if it was not working or the questions were just too weird. Because when I saw those questions, I was just like not able to, grasp them, and was not actually sure how to, if my answers were correct. But I think what helped at that point was I was just focusing on like, oh, okay, I know this concept, and the question is sort of weird, which is something that I've not tried before. So let's just see if I can apply that and get to the best answer choice as possible. So again, like after I was done with it, I completed it in time, so that was good. And yeah, like, but after that, I was just not like really sure what happened. Like I was just very shocked. What, oh, like I didn't feel confident about my answer choices, but I just knew like I just gave my best, right? Like what I knew, what my concepts were, and like try to best apply them. And again, like try to best apply the strategy I had. But yeah, like after that, I was just not really confident, and then my mind was also like sort of like off track, and then I had to immediately give verbal, and I knew like verbal was my strong suit. Like even if I've done badly in quant, if to a certain amount, I can definitely make it up in verbal. So I just had to like reconfigure myself and just those 1 minute that they offer you, and you just have to like dive down into verbal after that. So yeah, it was a very strange experience, and definitely after giving the whole exam, I was not expecting a score as 720 because I still didn't feel very confident about my quant section. Verbal went fine, and so then yeah, like but after getting that score, I was actually surprised, and yeah, it was good then
Yeah,
from
so
there.
do you think the Quant 2.0 course, the GMAT and process skill files, now they do precisely this. They're going to take a concept and just absolutely, take it out of proportion, give you something that's weird that you can't connect with. Do you think these files kind of helped you prepare for the ambiguity that there is on the GMAT now?
Yeah, definitely. So I think like I think the best metric it would be keep comparing myself before the GMAT course and after the GMAT course, because if I had given the same exam before the GMAT course, I'm pretty sure I would have been completely lost, because those questions are again like they definitely test your concept abilities really really hard, and that's what I got out of it. And if I had not had that conceptual clarity in giving these exams, I could not even have the confidence of marking any answer choice. But I knew like okay, maybe like that's the way to go about it. I knew that's how the concept is applied. I know like I've given some certain questions around it. So let me just try that. And that really helped me like to at least narrow it down to certain answer choices and make sure that like I'm going it about in a like a sort of timed manner as well. So because I didn't spend that much amount of time into a particular question, because I know like okay, this is the good way to go about it. So let's not diverge from there. So yeah, I think that really helped me. And yeah, that
Yeah.
um,
I think that's perfect.
that
I
was
think that's fair for you to say. Very interesting. So we're going to talk about two things now. We're going to talk about our engagement,
sure.
the hyper specific plan that I shared with you, and then we're going to talk about your mocks as well and the results of those mocks right before you gave the test. So in terms of
Okay.
our engagement, I remember I started off working with you, and then I came up with this really hyper specific plan in your last 10-15 days of prep. And I remember telling you that, Manas, it's New Year's. Can you just give
Yeah.
me like a few hours to get back to you? But I think I think that's the level of support that we kind of offer, right? Because there's no New Year for a student. If you're giving the exam in
Yeah.
4 days, you need help then, and that's the kind of I think that's the kind of support that we should be giving to people because you're a student and you need that. That's one piece, right? The second piece here is your mock strategy, and I'm really happy to say that you just took three mocks. You took three Sigma X mocks,
Yeah.
and you were very very deliberate about doing things. So what were your mock scores? How accurate do you think a Sigma X mock is? And how did you feel after scoring 690, I think, a day or two before your exam?
Yeah. Sure. Like I gave you 3 mocks. So like the first 2 mocks, I think I was around 740, 750. So and then that definitely was like made me really confident. And I was like the hard work was paying off, and uh, I was able to solve the questions, and I could like the video analysis you actually gave after the each mock, I think really helped me identify my weaknesses, and I could work on them for the next mock as well. And yeah, so when I gave the final mock, I think it was 1 day before the exam, and I scored a 690 on it, and that was really shocking, and I was like really disappointed after that, because yeah, like a 690 was like definitely not something I was looking for. But again, like I think that it really demotivated me, and then I shared it with you, and I think you really really motivated me at that point, like telling me like okay, like let's just forget about this. It's not something that shows your ability, because that's something you're not going to be scoring in your real exam as well. Because yeah, like I think I made some silly mistakes in quant, and that just like sort of the whole session went wrong. But yeah, like so that was something. And again, analyzing where I was going wrong in the mock, like what were my weaknesses. I was not that comfortable with algebra and geometry questions, and then you suggested like just make sure your mind sort of works before the exam to do some algebra and geometry questions after, like, before getting into it.
Yeah, and I'm
So
glad
yeah,
you
so that
said
was
that. I'm glad you said that because you did them. And I'm so
yeah,
happy that you actually took my advice and you did them. The score is not important here, but
yeah,
you actually practice those warm-up questions and I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that you did, and it kind of worked. I mean, if you've done well now that that's worked, I think that's one value add that you did. I remember making that video for you, and I said that, listen, calm down. This is just an
Yeah.
anomaly. I'd rather have you score a 690 today than score it tomorrow. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely out of the box, and we both knew your ability. I think that's the confidence you should take into the exam, that even though I've not done well on the mark, I can still score well. It doesn't mean that I don't have the ability to do so, right? And I think
Definitely.
that's the true essence of actually doing well on the GMAT. That confidence and that
Yeah.
factor of that I can score well. And this is just an anomaly. I think you managed that really well, even after scoring. I mean, even after going through that quant section where you were kind of baffled. I think you managed verbal really, really well. I think it
Yeah.
was very, very kudos to you there, frankly. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to do that. They would have just been devastated and they would have been like, let's just leave the exam now. Now,
Mm.
having said all of this, you finally scored a 720. What are the next steps from here? Where are you planning to apply? What are you planning to do?
Sure. So like, yeah, the plan remains the same. Actually, like the main reason I wanted to take GMAT and it also in such a short amount of time was I applied to certain colleges. And again, like I was in the wait list of these colleges, like masters in finance courses. And the main reason was like, again, like some of my other factors. And one of the factors was again, so like not that great GMAT score. So I just again wanted to improve, get it to that level. So yeah, like, so now I think hopefully, let's see, I don't know the results yet. Improve GMAT score, and yeah, like I get the seat in there. So that's the plan, basically doing a master's in finance course and hopefully an MBA later. But yeah, that's again like in the future. Not I haven't planned it out till then
Fine.
yet.
So we're going to stay connected and we're going to keep everybody updated on where you're going to go, if you're going to go to LBS or a school like that. I'm sure that you'll get in. I think 720 is a great score for an MPhil
Yeah,
course. And you're there. So we're going to wish you all the luck for that. Thank you so much, Manas. And it was truly a pleasure to really talk to you because I think you touched on so many important points that students face in their GMAT
yeah,
journey. And again, all the
actually,
best.
yeah. Thank you, Dhananjay. Thank you so much.